Hey, Coach, can you hear me okay?
I can't hear you, Kaylee.
Ready to get started?
Kaylee, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You sure?
Yes.
Derek's already laughing, just so you know.
We'll get started with questions.
All right.
And Jason will have our first question.
All right, thanks.
Hey, Sean, it's Jason Wolf with the Buffalo News. How are you?
Good, Jason. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Hey, this might seem like a bit of a random question, and maybe there's an obvious answer, but why do you defer every time you win the coin toss?
That's because it's what my kids want us to do. No, it's just feel like when you look at there's some analytics behind all of that, I think too, and I couldn't even get into it to begin with. We have to sit here for an hour and go back and forth, but yeah, it's just something that we've researched and feel like it's the right thing to do in most games, not all games. We definitely keep an open mind. I would tell you every game, based on a lot of variables that we factor in.
But the decision, it presents the opportunity. The idea is that it presents the opportunity to double dip, right? Because you guarantee yourself, in a sense, possession of the ball to start the second half.
Potentially, yeah, right. I mean, that is one of the reasons to do it. Then you see teams that receive, in particular against a team like we're going to face. I think Pittsburgh received, in fact, this past week. So there's pros and cons to both. Gotcha.
And just, if I might, the emotional impact of double dipping when you are able to pull that off. You see it in your guys' faces when they're able to pull it off. You see it when it happens to you. Besides the impact that has on the scoreboard, scoring on consecutive drives, what does that do from an emotional standpoint for these players?
Yeah, it's big. When you're going in at halftime, knowing that you've got the ball coming out, there's an emotional part of that as well. That and like you said, it does give you a chance to double dip. So, there's a lot of advantages to doing both. Certainly, that's one to defer.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Good luck Sunday.
Thanks.
Coach McDermott, a.k.a. the Big Honcho. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Mookie. How are you?
I'm great, Coach. 61 flawless victories, no losses while wrestling. Now, you could have easily, chose a wrestling scholarship and walked on at that particular school, but you went a different route. You walked on at William & Mary. What went into that, and what was that process like for you?
Well, I think it was just one of those deals, Mookie, where I had a chance to play football or wrestle, and I just think, just that gut feeling that the good Lord was leading me to William & Mary to play football, and that's the rest is history, I guess, as they say. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Coach, the past 4 games, your team has been playing aggressive, physical, and most importantly, consistent. How can you continue to play that way?
Well, we've got to prepare that way. I think that's the key, and that doesn't always guarantee the result. But you want to prepare detailed. You want to prepare in a consistent manner and in a detailed manner. So I think that's part of the process that hopefully sets you up for success, so you can execute that same way on game day.
Absolutely, Coach. And, I think you're a very hands-on coach. You're compassionate, and I think your team really rallied behind you with that growth mindset. What makes this team war ready for Sunday's matchup?
Well, it's going to be a challenge. They're a very good football team. It's going to be a tough environment, of course, and they're the defending AFC champions, representing the Super Bowl on the AFC side in the Super Bowl. So, well coached. Got a great roster in terms of their talent and depth, and we're going to have to play our best football. And we've had a good week of practice, so we'll just keep taking it one day at a time, one step at a time here.
Absolutely, Coach. Safe travels and good luck Sunday.
Thanks.
Hey, Sean, I know when you draft a quarterback, you probably hope that he can build relationships with everybody from the offense to the defense. But I know that's probably not the easiest thing to do, knowing that guys come from everywhere and have really different backgrounds. And it seems like Josh has really been able to do that. So how has it been from the outside looking in, watching Josh form all these relationships with so many different guys on the team.
Yeah, that's a gift, Maddie, that he's able to do that. In particular, when he's a person that spends most of his time with the offense. So that's a challenge, and it's hard to do, to endear oneself to the entire football team, not just your side of the ball, quote unquote. So I just think Josh has that gift, that quality that, and we saw it coming out in the draft, really, to be honest with you. So, I've just been very, very proud of the way he's handled it.
Thanks, Coach.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, I wanted to ask about, obviously last week was kind of the perfect game plan. This week, I think everybody's expecting kind of a shootout. In a game like that where points are a premium, why does Brian Daboll do such a good job with his game plans? Is it aggressiveness, or why does he seem to give you guys an edge when the game's high scoring?
Well, I'm sorry, the last part, when the game what?
I'm sorry, I said in games that get really high scoring, it seems like you guys have an edge in Daboll. Why?
Well, I just think he's a good coach. He does a good job in preparing, and so does his staff. They shape a good game plan, and it always comes down to execution. You can have the right plan, but it always comes down to the detail that leads to the execution. Is that it?
Are we good?
Catherine, we're having trouble hearing you. We're going to go to Elena and we'll come back to you in a minute. Sorry, Catherine.
Hey, Sean, on the radio, you said that, you thought Mario was going to practice today. I was curious, are you expecting him to be full or limited? And what particularly do you need to see from him today?
Yeah, so we'll just see today. I don't know really what capacity he'll be in today until I get out there and watch him, to be honest with you. So,
has he been progressing throughout the week, or how do you any
yeah,
update related to that?
Yeah, I think he's progressing, but it's hard to really tell until this will be his first day out there for the most part in a full speed practice for. So that's the best I can say right now.
Okay, and then completely separate. Obviously, Brian gets a lot of credit for the offense, and Josh, and deservedly so. But I was curious, from your perspective, what do you think Ken Dorsey has done for Josh's development, and how important has he been?
Yeah, that's an important relationship, and I know there's mutual respect there. Dorsey puts a lot of time into his work and his craft, and being prepared for his players. Josh being one of them, of course, and the main one. So. He's played the position at a high level as well, and he's coached for a number of years now, and I just think he continues to get better every year.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, Josh Reed here. Thanks for taking a little bit of time this morning. What's the just kind of curious, what's the kind of temperature in the room right now? The locker room is, as the week goes on and you get a little closer to game time, and a lot of the preparation is kind of behind you now. I know there's still some to go, but what kind of take us inside the facility? Yeah,
I can tell you it's warmer in here than it is outside right now, temperature wise, which is a good thing. So let's just start there. No, I appreciate your question, Josh. And I think the guys have spent a good week preparing. They've been very businesslike. And now it's time to, focus really one more practice today, and then get ourselves more mentally ready to go from that point going into game time.
How has that changed, if it has at all, in particular amongst the coaching staff, as you guys continue to stack playoff appearances? And, obviously you guys have been around each other for several seasons now. How does that kind of help the flow of everything as you get ready for a postseason game in particular?
Yeah, the experience is important. So there's obviously, everyone's urgent in their approach, excited for the opportunity, grateful for the opportunity as well. I don't want to leave that out, Josh, but also, I would say that there's some familiarity, I guess, with the process this time of year, best I could say. And so I think that helps.
I can promise you it's 3 degrees here in Kansas City. So you're not coming anywhere where it's much warmer. So take care. Have a good practice today. Thanks, Sean.
All right. Thanks, Josh.
Hey, Sean, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Yep.
Okay, so sorry about that. I was curious about Matt Milano. Y'all didn't have him in this last meeting, but just now that you'll have him back, and this defense played well without him week 5, of course, but what does he bring to this team? And what have you seen out of him this season?
Well, I think he's had a really good season, Catherine, and he's a big part of our defense. He's a big part of the edge of our defense, if you will, and he just does a phenomenal job in the run and the pass game, which is hard to find for a linebacker that can do both so well at such a high level. And the way he teams with Tremaine and in our secondary, I think there's a lot of familiarity there because of some of that continuity.
And then I know we've talked about Dawson a lot this season against Kansas City. I think it was like 117 yards or something wild like that. And in that stretch when he was, starting to have that breakout, just how did he build on that beginning of the year to have the season that he's had?
Yeah, I think, a lot of the questions I've been asked about Dawson have been more so in his off season, what led him to having the year. And when we started the year, early returns, either really good or really bad, you don't really want to tie yourself to until they become consistent, right? So you know what you're really dealing with. And I would say that I think we all could say that Dawson's really had a consistent year in that way, in a good way, right? And just in terms of the returns through the first 4 or 5 games have really become what he's done all season. So the consistency, I think, has been big for Dawson overall.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
That's all for today. Thanks, Coach.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Caleb.